Hey, this is Josh from Streamline Retail, and I am so pumped about 2019. We have a lot of cool stuff headed your way. You know, we've been talking with retailers over the last couple months. You know, obviously retailers make a lot of changes going into the new year, and that's understandable. You're wanting to turn things around, and the new year is a great time to really evaluate where are you, where are things headed, and what's going to be a priority for you for the business. And so what I want to do is give you 4 things that you can really look at and evaluate as you make your plans for 2019. But really, no matter when you're watching this video, these are things that I think you can always ask. So the first one, and this is probably the most important one that I'm going to mention. So if you are going to watch this video for a minute more, this is the minute to watch, is self-awareness and customer awareness. And what I mean by that is, who are you and who is your customer? There is a good chance that when you first started your business, you could have been 28 years old, into a certain thing, your marital status, your home ownership status, what neighborhood you lived in, the music you were listening to, if you had a nose ring or not, whatever those things are the exact same as your customer. You were your customer in so many ways. They were the same person, right? A problem that we see is ultimately you grow up a little bit, you age, your taste change. You know, you've moved on from Taylor Swift's country stuff and you've moved on to her pop stuff a little bit, but your customer still loves that country music. As you are making these changes, if you were in the habit of buying for yourself and that was the way you purchased for your store, you really are starting to set yourself up for failure. Because when you launched your store, you created a brand. You created a feeling. Really, you could say like you created a character. You created a person that you were buying for. And it happened that when you started your store, you and that person were the exact same. But as you have grown and developed and your tastes have changed, your customer hasn't. So if your customer was a 23-year-old girl, you might be 30, 35 now, and what you need and what you want are different than your customer. So really, this kind of puts you at an impasse of, do you need to change your brand and start marketing to a new market that is that older demographic, and you want your brand to grow and develop with you and your new tastes and your new changes? Or do you need to learn how to buy better for who your demographic is? That's number one. So some questions that you can ask yourself that can help determine this is, who were you when you started your store and how have you changed? Have your taste changed? If you're a home decor store, were you really into super modern design when you first started, and now you're into French country, or you're a huge Joanna Gaines fan, so you're just on that bandwagon for right now? Whatever that might look like. If you're in clothing, that's a really easy one to judge, but who were you when you started and who are you now? And then second, who is your customer? How old are they? What do they like to buy? What is their budget? What's their price point? I know when I was in college, like the idea of paying more than $20 for a shirt was obnoxious. I never would have paid more than $20 for anything. And as I've grown and gotten a little older, that's changed. You can really create, honestly, like in your mind, like a character, and learn how to buy for them, not for you. And getting away from that really is going to be one of the huge secrets of learning how to be a better buyer. The next thing that you want to ask yourself this year is, what do you hope to get out of 2019 in your business? Is it fulfillment in the kind of work that you do? Is it you want to provide jobs for your community? Do you just want to make a ton of money? There's nothing wrong with any of those. I think all of those are really good things. I love the desire to provide jobs. I love that you want to have a very successful business and see a lot of profit from that. But as you can evaluate, what do you really want to get out of this year? What is your goal? Where are you headed? Then we can take a step back and evaluate how we're going to move forward. Because if your goal is first and foremost fulfillment, and you don't really care to grow into a $6 million business, then why invest in the tools and resources and whatever to get to that level? There's a good chance that you can save a lot of money and save a lot of stress being content with where you are, as long as you know how to keep cash flow afloat and make the most of the tools that you have. You probably can get by without a lot of the stress needed to grow your business. So let's say that you want to make a ton of money. That's where it takes us into our next 2 things. And I'll just go ahead and say what they are. One is your team, and the next is your tools. So your team, if your goal is to make a lot of money, then we need to evaluate, do I have the team in place to do that? You know, if your goal is purely financial, at the end of the day, you want a team that's very sales focused. You want to hire people that are incredible at sales and that know how to drive repeat traffic, get them back in the store, get them buying online, people that understand marketing. At the end of the day, your team needs to be built around sales. If you're someone that you want to have a huge impact on your community, then you need to have an incredibly friendly team that knows how to, you know, just create a warm, inviting atmosphere that's going to invite people back into your store. If it's to provide jobs, then maybe that means partnering with a local nonprofit of people that are turning their life around and employing people in your community who otherwise wouldn't have an opportunity. You name the goals that you have, you can then see what kind of team do I need to have in place to fit it. I'm not saying fire your staff and hire a new one, but maybe that also means reallocating some roles. If you have someone who works in the back of the office that might actually be pretty good at sales, maybe that means we need to transition them up front. Even if you still need someone fulfilling web orders, that's a much easier job to replace than a salesperson. Last is your tools. Do you have the tools in place to get where you want to go? If you want to increase cash flow and make more money, you need to understand where your cash is going and where it's being held, and then what we can do to improve it. That's a huge piece of planning that we talk about every month when we do inventory plans for people, is how to improve cash flow. But if you don't have the tools in place to get there, if you don't have the right POS system, we have no way of finding out that information. If it's to grow your customer base, do you have the right marketing platform in place to pull data from your website and from your POS and send really good automated marketing sequences to your customers or your potential customers to get them to buy from your store? So this is the basics that I would say. Again, that is, take a look at who you are and who your customer is, how are they different, and how can you either adjust your brand or adjust your buying. Second is evaluating what do you hope to get out of this year, and really be honest with yourself. And then from that, take a look at your team. Do you have the right team in place with the right job to get there? And then do you have the right tools in place to fulfill those goals? You know, I know that this can be overwhelming. This shouldn't be something that takes 10 minutes. Honestly, it's a lot of hard work, but I really think that those 4 things are the secret sauce to succeeding in retail. So I hope that you got a lot of value out of this. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel, click subscribe below. If you have questions or if we can help with any of this, the biggest area where we can help is with getting those tools in place that I talk about to make sure that you are headed towards your goals and that your cash flow and all of that is in line to do it. Thank you for watching, and we will talk very, very soon. Have a great week.